From Motionsoft's Rockville headquarters in Rockville, Maryland, my name is Todd Tweedy, and I'm pleased to welcome you to the kickoff webinar for our Club Collaboration webinar series. Our topic today, Club Security, the value of integrated access control hardware. I'll be your moderator, as well as the moderator for the upcoming Motionsoft Technology Summit. The Technology Summit this year will take place in Baltimore, Maryland, September 13th through 15th. You can learn more about the summit by visiting MotionsoftTechnologiesSummit.com. I have a few sessions that I want to make you aware of that are coming up here in the series. The next session is on Thursday the 26th with Jabbar Abibi, who will focus on customer engagement and retention. On Tuesday, June 7th, Human Ariste will focus on moving beyond physical activity data tracking, and I think this is going to be a really interesting session for club owners and operators that are really trying to look at different types of engagement platforms to keep members not only coming back, but to take health data and do something really interesting with it. And I want to make sure everyone's aware of a session that will start later towards the middle of June with the entire Motionsoft Technology Summit Advisory Board. It'll be the Advisory Board Roundtable. The webinar will take place on June 15th. I'll send out links to all the attendees and registrants who signed up for today's session. Let me give you just a quick overview of how to use the question module inside of the control panel. It's listed there towards the bottom underneath webcam. If you could please click on the questions interface. And if you could just type hello or good afternoon or glad to be here, just so I make sure everyone's familiar with how to use the tool. Awesome. Thanks, Richard. Nice to have you with us today. Joe as well, too. Rian and Taf, thank you. Diane, much appreciated. All right, let me shift gears here for a second and introduce your presenter today. Unfortunately, Alana Martin took very ill and is not able to join us. She's recovering just fine and she'll be back in the office, I'm sure, shortly. And stepping in today is the North American Sales Director, Gerard Pilcher. Gerard is a pretty impressive gentleman in the space. He's been in the fitness space for 20 plus years working with clubs on access control and hardware. Gerard, thank you so much for joining us today and kicking off the Motionsoft Technology Summit webinar series, Club Collaboration. I turn it over to you, sir.
Yeah, thank you very much, Todd, for that introduction. Yeah, my name is Gerhard Pichler. I'm the, like Todd said, Business Development Manager and Sales Manager for Gantner Technologies in North America. I'm based in Austria and work together with our partners in the US in the American market. So the title of the webinar today, Club Security, the value of integrated access control hardware. Interesting title we have here, and one word says it all, the integrated access control hardware, which basically means that whatever access control system you use on whatever applications, it needs to be integrated with the club management software to do the features we need to have in a health club. And this is what we talk about today, what these features are and how we can help to solve some of the industry's problems in terms of access control and security. So I want to start with a little brief introduction about Gantner Technologies. So we are a global NFC solution provider with offices and partners around the world. We have installations in over 60 countries and some of the biggest industry names in health clubs, which is one of our strongest market segments, are amongst our clients. We work with the whole range of clients, from a small CrossFit studio to the biggest chains in the US, but also from medical fitness orientated to multi-purpose, multi-site clubs. So we cover the whole aspect of the health club industry. And we are located in the middle of the Austrian Alps. That picture is not the view from my office, but it looks similar like that, especially in wintertime. And with that, I want to go into right away into the NFC applications. I want to talk briefly about NFC technology because not everybody might be familiar with that technology, but when we look at it, where NFC technology is used today, I want to give you some examples. All the US government IDs, for instance, are based on NFC technology, on contactless near-field communication technology. But also in public transportation in cities like Boston or Chicago, the ticketing system, the daily ticket or the monthly passes you get are based on NFC contactless technology. And most famous since a couple of months or nearly a year now is obviously the NFC technology on the iPhone with Apple Pay. So also payment services have discovered that NFC technology is the way into the future to provide the security and the convenience for these applications. So these are just a few typical applications where NFC technology is used today in different industries across the globe. And we as Gantner Technologies obviously use that technology as a membership credential to do cashless payments, to do locking systems, electronic lockers for your wardrobe locker rooms, to do check-ins, to do access control combined with fingerprints. So for all our portfolio, we use NFC technology. This webinar today specifically focuses on the access control and check-in aspect because we see the greatest demand here, or in other words, we see the most clients with problems in that area. Going back forward to the next slide, these NFC credentials, in what kind of form factor are they available? Some of you might know them as standard credit card size plastic cards where a chip is embedded. That's the traditional means of an NFC card. But then we also have NFC wristbands, which come in different sizes, shapes, or forms, which are really popular nowadays because it's just a hands-free experience and you don't need to store your card while you work out. They also come in the form of key tags, different shapes and forms. Precore, for instance, for their Preva system, they use a key tag to activate the training machines, but that key tag could be also a wristband or a card. And obviously one form of NFC credential is also the mobile phone. If it's an NFC mobile phone and if the operating system allows us to use the NFC part to use it as a membership credential. Going from there, I would like to start on the main door. We see a tremendous need on main door control to do 24-hour access. This is most of the questions we get from the little boutique studios or the little CrossFit studios is, how can I control my door? How can I make sure that when I'm not there, that only paying members can basically access the facility? And the answer to that is you need to link the hardware, the door control hardware, with your member management software so that by the time or by the day the member stops paying, eventually also the access control for that membership credential stops operating on that door. And quite often in studios, it's the case that either they have mechanical keys, which means if there is no manager on site, then there is no way that somebody goes in, or the access control system is part of the building-wide access control system, and that limits you on the flexibility of your operating hours. Because for one door, for one studio in one corner of the big building, the building-wide access control system is not made to be flexible enough for that operator. And Once you implement a system where only paying members and only active members can enter your club, then you really increase the security of your facility starting on the main door. The interesting concept here is that we have features built in our tools that you could also control that main door from your front desk, which basically means that you as an operator, if you come in first in the morning, and then the door should be automatically open until lunchtime. You just set it to automatic open function. If you leave for lunchtime and still want members to go into the club, but obviously check if they are active members at the door, you switch the door control into automatic mode, or by a time schedule you could say we switch the door completely off during the night hours where I'm not where I don't allow access. So there's multiple features how you can control it all from your front desk, and the main goal here is to increase the security to have only paying members in your facility. Going into your facility, depending on your club, you might secure the access area with gates or turnstiles. Having said that, we know that this is not the solution for every club because it depends on the layout of the club and the reception and also the operating philosophy in your club. So you might say, I don't want to have gates because it looks like a prison or a fence. That's a nice shot of a club in Florida where we implemented gates, and you could actually imagine the open reception area. Just take away the gates and the flower pots. That was all open area, and the reception entrance to the club was quite wide. So their main problem was, how do I control the member flow? I want them to pass by reception. They had a security issue, I would say, where we got asked to help them, and we implemented really nice gates. They are not the cheapest ones in the line, but they're very nice and they work for that high-end facility. So you could also say, if your club or studio is in a shopping mall situated where you don't have a main door, that you do the access control at the gate for the same purpose, so that you only have paying members in your club, and your paying members which are already in the club will really appreciate that, knowing that everybody who is in this facility is a paying member and not a friend of staff or an outdated member which doesn't pay anymore but knows the ways into the club and things like that. But also, once you implement these gates, you can come up with new membership models like off-peak memberships or student memberships for reduced prices. And the reason why you really should have a proper access control system when you offer these membership types is that you need to enforce them. If you have off-peak memberships which says in their contracts people need to leave the club by 5 p.m. because then the busy time starts, if this is your off-peak model for half price, you want to make sure that these people or these members leave at 5 p.m. and if they don't, if they leave at 5:30 or 6 o'clock, that you actually stop them and or at least give a notification behind the front desk. Still let them out, but give a notification to the front desk and saying this member overstayed. You can then educate these members, and if they do it again and again, charge them a day fee. So we have a facility, they are really strict on that policy. They allow you to overstay for half an hour, but everything over half an hour, notification to the front desk, you need to pay a day fee. And then off-peak membership models are a successful thing because people will leave at the right time. The other reason or the other aspect other than security when it comes to the front door control but also the gate control is to reduce staff costs. If I need to attend to every member, to take their membership card, check them in on a barcode scanner, hand it back to them, that's a task which ends up being a big task if these members have questions or if it's during the peak hours and you have lines behind the reception. In that scenario, we have two ways in. We have a kind of a self-checking procedure. The member just swipes their wristband, on that reader which is integrated in the gate, automatically it will be checked if their membership fee, or if they're a member in good standing, if they paid their fees, and if so, then we get the signal from the club management software, let this member in, and the gate will open and they're automatically checked in. So it also takes away staff resource which we could then focus on sales jobs or on personal trainer jobs or whatever their other roles within your facility might be. Looking at that picture, I want to make a little sidetrack also to the changing rooms, because a full integrated system solution, different applications work together. Although today we talk about access control, I want to let you know that if you remember the picture before, that only if people go through that gate and check in properly, we will activate electronic locker locks, or we will activate the cashless payment feature for that member, or we will activate any other services we would provide. So it always demands you need to be checked in, because this is, once you're properly checked in and the club membership software confirms that you're a member in good standing, only then we will allow you all the other functions. Why is that good? No money, no honey, or in other words, no check-in, no locker. So even if you ask people to come to the reception to check in, or if you have gates, if a member is not an active member, he can't use the lockers, he can't do any cashless payment functions, and he's limited in what he can do. And that basically makes sure that you don't have these kind of cheating members in your club. But what's even more important, especially in high-end facility, it makes also sure that the VIP members also check in properly. Because if you're an operator of a VIP facility, you know the procedure that VIP members, they just walk in, they assume everybody knows them. The staff behind front desk is afraid to talk to them, to demand them to check in. So the member is in, but you don't have the necessary data what you want for your marketing initiatives. So this is combining these systems, is kind of soft forcing the check-in, and that delivers the necessary data to you. So that's just how access control combines with electronic locker management. Going from there, we developed also on access control a special product together with some global budget fitness chains. So we call it for the high volume, low price market, the HVLP market, a system where you combine the NFC credential, a wristband or a card, with the fingerprint in order to access control. Why is that good? To stop sharing membership. Again, if you imagine the picture of the nice reception of that club in Florida, nothing stops people from sharing their membership. So I could give my membership credential to a friend and tell him that he can work out on my membership. We all know the problem. It's up to 2% of your members do this, depending on your club, 1 to 2%, depending on the demographics of your club also. And with that system, you really stop that, because it means that we do random fingerprint checks. So normally a member would just check in or open the gate with the membership credential, but randomly we could ask them for the fingerprint. And the fingerprint is stored on the credential. So basically, in technical terms, we read the fingerprint from the wristband, we read it from your finger, we match it, and if the match is okay, we let the member in. Virgin Active in South Africa implemented that system a year ago. There's a nice video on YouTube to look at it, and also have Andy Caddy speaking about it. But a lot of clubs with high traffic, where they need to get the traffic away from the reception, they need to make sure with gates that only paying members are in, also use that stepped up security to also do random fingerprint checks to stop membership sharing. Because if you have a huge membership base and you have 2% or even more, depending on your demographic, sharing membership, that's lost money. That's lost money, which with a technology like that could be easily be additional membership fees and additional profit. So that's the more secure system with fingerprint verification for high volume, low price club concepts. Let's not forget the security area in the kids town or the kids club, or however you want to call the area where you have the kids of the member while they're working out. First of all, it provides peace of mind for your members, and it adds to your members' experience if the kids are in a safe place, but also the liability of the kids in your club whilst you work out is a big issue, where you need to make sure that only parents which are registered for the child care have actually access to that area. I'll give you another example. Actually, it's the picture we see here. It's a club where the way to the locker rooms was shorter through the kids area than it was through the main reception, and the door was open. So obviously a lot of members walked through the kids area to the changing rooms, because that was the layout of that club was like that. And they had a real security issue here, because they had members in that area which didn't even have kids signed up for the kids down. So this is why we secured the door. You see here again with an NFC reader and an intercom, where even if you don't have a card and then you want to go that door, there is always the possibility to open the door and to speak with that intercom with whoever is in front of the door. But all the members which are registered for that kids town had special access credentials on their card, so that we only allow them to basically pick up their kids or drop them off. And having said that, that could be also again combined with biometric to even go on a higher security level. Not sure if that is really necessary, but if you really want to make it secure and you really want to make sure that only the person who dropped off the kit can pick it up, and normally if you have the same staff during the whole day, that shouldn't be a problem. But if you have changing staff and they don't know who dropped them off in the morning and who picks them up in the evening, that might be a solution which adds to the security. Next in line, VIP access. I'm always surprised when I go through clubs and go to the VIP locker rooms and see that there are sometimes only a section of the normal locker rooms, not even secured with a door. It's just like a subsection of the locker rooms. Or if on that door to the VIP area access in the locker rooms, if this door is secured with a PIN code, which is easily be told to friends, and all of a sudden a lot more members have access to the VIP area than you have VIP members in your database. So don't forget all these internal doors which should be secured. First of all, to give the VIP member obviously the security a VIP member deserves, and to make sure that there are not any non-VIP members in that area. But also, if you offer free drinks or free food in that VIP areas, you don't want any non-VIPs participating in that service, and which is basically again lost money for you. So also think about securing these doors. Any internal door could be secured. VIP areas quite often, but also think about areas where only staff have access or only cleaners have access. Maybe you have a cleaner room and you don't want members to go in there to take out whatever they think they could take out of that room, and you want to secure that, then also secure it with an access control system, make sure that only the right people have access to that location. Another really interesting product we launched recently is a mobile check-in app. So that's a form of access control, or also check-in if you want. Basically, instead of having a check-in device on a gate or behind a front desk, the mobile phone is the check-in device. So with the mobile phone, we would scan the NFC RFID bracelets or cards, transfer that information to the club management system. They will do the check in that scenario even send down the picture and say, yeah, check-in is accepted, this is how that person looks like. Why is that good? Because with a solution like that, your club management system moves outdoors with you. So when you do your beach Zumba class or a boot camp somewhere outside of the club, you could take that mobile phone with you with a 3G or Wi-Fi connection. You're connected to the club management system, and you could check in people, right? So you could actually on the field where you have your boot camp or your yoga class, check in people, get a picture, accept them or not, because the most of the times the problem is today is you know who registered for classes, or the classes are included in your membership fee anyway, but you don't know actually who attends. And it might be really interesting for you, even if the classes are free of charge, it might be interesting for you to know who is attending that class, because you want to market do some special marketing for these members who always join the yoga class 3 times a week. If you don't know them, with that tool, you definitely get to know them. So it could be used as a check-in device for personal trainers. It could be used for group exercise classes, or it could be used for any kind of group activities or temporary access control scenarios where I say, hey, that area is open, but I want to control it, but I don't have gates or any doors. That could be a viable solution. Networked fitness. Again, I come a little bit away from the access control topic of that webinar and talk a little bit about if you have NFC credentials in your club and you go through the main door and the gates and the kids down and the staff and lockers or the staff doors and everything is secured, where else could you actually use that kind of technology? We talked today briefly about using it in the locker rooms, but so you can use it on networked fitness equipment. We only listed a couple of major companies here, like Tenogen, Precoil, Life Fitness, Matrix, but there are many others who do networked fitness equipment, which basically means that with an NFC credential, you log into your training account of these equipment providers. So it's the same credential which eventually does everything in the club. And this is always when we look at the full system solution Gantner provides, then access control is a big and an important part, but also the other parts, and combining everything together gives the user that experience they need. When I go to a club, a modern club the other day in Sunset Boulevard in California, I get a paper ticket for the car park. I need to have a barcode key tag to check in. I need to bring my own padlock. I need money or credit card to buy something in that club. So all of a sudden, as a member who only wants to work out, I need to carry 4, 5, 6 different credentials in order to navigate in the health club. This is unfortunately state of the art in a lot of clubs, but there is help with a full system solution where one NFC credential in different shapes and forms could do all of that. And this is obviously the concepts we provide, and access control is a big part, but the same credential locks you on also to the networked fitness equipment. If we're gonna sum up the benefits of an access control system, it is obvious that we have increased security if only paying members can enter your facility, or only VIP members can enter VIP areas, or only staff can enter the staff doors. That's an obvious thing. What might be not so obvious, but is a big proportion of it, is the streamlined operation, especially if you have a high volume club or busy peak hours and you want to get people in quickly. Then automated access control, where we have a self-checking procedure, really streamlines the operation and leads also to lesser staff and lesser staff costs of your facility. New membership plans opens new doors on new possibilities and new growth paths for your facility, but if they are not enforced, then they will not be successful. That will not be a successful model, how you plan it. So we need to enforce them, and the access control system helps here. The enhanced data streams, knowing who went where at what time, is data you have in the system. And also, especially with the mobile app, have that data now from participants of group exercise classes, so that you actually know who really participated in the class, not just signed up for it, but who was in there. And all in all, especially when it's combined with the electronic locker management or the cashless payment element or the network fitness element, it adds to a member experience that one credential does everything. This is what the member expects today. This is where we will do much more work in the future. But these are the 5 main benefits of access control. Normally, we can start with a main door and then also implement other NFC applications as we go along. It quite often starts on the main door and the securities, but just to let you know that we deliver the whole system solution. So that was a quick run through where access control should be applied in a club, what technology is out there, or what we as Gantner offer for that applications. And now we have some time for your questions, and I will be happy to answer them. Todd, are there any questions so far?
Oh, Gerhard, thank you so much for your presentation. Attendees, this is your chance to ask Gerhard questions directly. If you could please use the question interface inside of the control panel and compose your questions there. I do have a couple of questions for you already, Gerhard. Let me start from Tony, who asked, do fingerprints work for everyone?
Sorry, will fingerprints ask for work for everyone? Was that the question?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, thanks, Tony. That's a very good question. And it's a very interesting question, because if you read the studies on the internet, they will clearly not. 1 to 2% of the population, the fingerprint will not work on any fingerprint technology, because the fingerprint and the lines of the fingerprint are just too weak to read for the technology, or for, let's say, affordable technology. And specifically Asian people, older people, and builders are more likely to fail with that technology. So it's 1 to 2% of the population. A big customer in Brazil told us it's up to 5% in his facility where fingerprint is causing a problem. So the answer is no, fingerprint is not for everyone. And this is when we look at fitness clubs who implemented fingerprint systems today. Most of them also have a backup procedure. One of the biggest operators in the US who operates on fingerprints has an 8-digit PIN code. So you always require an 8-digit PIN code and the fingerprint. In other clubs, they have the fingerprint, and in addition to that, a card, because you need that backup procedure. And this is why we think the solution, what I showed you with the biometric fingerprint verification, is quite interesting, because you always have an NFC credential and a fingerprint on it to step up security. But if you have one of these 1% of the population who cannot work with fingerprint, we can easily set that wristband that it does not check the fingerprint, because the holder of it does not have a proper fingerprint, right? And they would still just use that credential. So in real life, if I don't have a proper fingerprint, and we realize that during the enrollment process, if I would go to an access control reader, it would just, I present the NFC wristband and it would let me in. And if then Todd, who has a proper fingerprint, enters that club, he might get asked to show his fingerprint as well to see if he is sharing memberships or not. So I hope with that I answered the question. But fingerprint technology, even the best ones you get on the market, there is a percentage of population we can't work with. And everybody within this field in the fingerprint technology applying to the fitness club needs to have a backup procedure. Might that be a PIN code? Might that be an additional card? We included the system right away together so that you only have one wristband and you don't need to think about a number or something else. Todd?
Awesome. Thank you, Gerhard. Let me kind of shift gears while staying within the fingerprint component. And again, a follow up from Tony who asked, does Gantner also provide integrated door sentry and camera systems?
We, as Gantner, do not provide the camera systems, which basically means we do not manufacture them, but all our partner companies who are system solution providers, who are out of the security area or the system integrator area, they do. So we as Gantner, we have focus on the NFC products, which we do since 35 years, and we're really successful there. But the partner in the US, they do full system solutions. So they would actually install and also provide you with gates, even with lockers if needed, but also security cameras and officer services, security officer service if needed. So and under the Gantner umbrella, yes, we provide that, but we don't manufacture that. Todd?
Thank you, Gerhard. I have a question from Tap who asks, does this system integrate with the Motionsoft eClub Logic software so that reports are generated from within the software, or is this run from a separate software that links to this common database?
Yeah. Well, that's an interesting question. Thank you for that. I'm actually, yeah, I don't know the exact answer to that. I must admit that. We have an integration with Motionsoft, but I understand there are more products on the Motionsoft side, and I, to be quite honest, don't actually know in what product it is integrated. So it would be wrong for me to give you a definite answer on that. But if you drop Todd your email address, I will come back to that. Interesting question. I need to know anyway, so I will inquire about that. But I can't give you an answer to that right now. We have the integration, but I don't know for which products.
So, Tap, we're actually integrating with Gantner into our Moso platform. So, within our products, we have Moso, which is our enterprise platform, Moso Club, which is for small to mid-size facilities, and then eClub Logic. Gantner's only integrated through our API interface with Moso, but we're working on getting Gantner integrated into Moso Club as well. But there's no plans right now for eClub Logic to be connected into Gantner. So if you were to leverage their services, it would be running a separate data feed from somewhere. I hope that answered your question. Any other questions from our attendees? This is your chance to pose questions to Gerhard. I do have a question from Tony Gerhard, a follow-up. He wants to know, does Gantner work with integrators around the country?
Well, we work with, we have a Gantner partner, our major partner. He's based in Minneapolis and he does nationwide projects. And in a typical project scenario, which is the project down in Florida, which we did out of Minneapolis, this is a security company or a system integrator with a wide network of partner companies. So if we do a project far away from our base in the US, we would either ask you, do you know a contractor or system integrator you want to use there? And if not, then we will have the network to recommend person and obviously give that person all the necessary details to do the job. And that is actually a question which also comes quite often up in webinars or presentations we give. How do I get started? You know, because especially when you want to secure a 24-hour door, for instance, we need to know how you currently operate that door. We need to have maybe some pictures of the door so that we can identify the door lock mechanism on it. then we would send you a proposal, link you up with your local electrician or a contractor we find for you, and then ultimately install it and connect it up to Motionsoft. So that's the typical procedure how we would go on a project. It all starts with we need to know what you have there and get some pictures. And because we are so, or our partner is so familiar with all the door systems around in the nation, we can identify from pictures quite well what we need to do there and the extent of the work.
No, thanks for that overview, Gerhard. And going beyond, how to get started, we're getting some questions, and specifically from Taff asking, basically, what's the fees for your service? And he's asking, how are you charging? Is it based on access points? Is it what's the pricing without the biometric component? Just to give folks a quick idea of either setup and integration fees and then ongoing fees for your services.
Yeah. I think it's an interesting question, especially for us being Europeans. I think you appreciate our European business model here, that we say you buy it, you own it. So we would do your offer. A typical entrance door could be anywhere between 2,000 or 3,000 US dollars. You buy it, you own it. There is no annual fee, there is no monthly fee, there is no service fee. You buy it, you own it, it's yours. We know that a lot of operators operate in a different way, but we sell the system solution and that's it. There is no monthly fee, there is no operating fee. If you obviously have a full size fitness facility and you want a maintenance contract to get special service, that's all available, but the hardware, the door control hardware as such, there is no recurring fee. You buy it, you own it.
Awesome, thank you. Attendees, any final questions for Gerhard today? Maybe, Gerhard, just maybe one more question for you. I'm curious, what questions don't businesses ask that surprise you that they need to be asking when they're thinking about access control and hardware?
What questions they don't ask,
What
which
do businesses need
surprises
to
me.
be thinking about that maybe they're not aware of right now when they're going through the process of evaluating access control systems?
Well, I think what surprises me sometimes is that after years of operation, operators realize I have a security issue here, and especially depending on the neighborhoods or the demographics in the area your club is, that security gets more and more important for the members, but also for the childcare. I guess everybody remembers that story, that 9-year-old who traveled, I think, from Minneapolis to Las Vegas without even an airline ticket. So the TSA didn't really do a good job on that security side. But I think in general, security gets more and more important, and I'm always surprised that operators don't think about that or didn't thought about that earlier. So that is one thing which surprises me. And the other thing is what we see quite often is that we start with a door control system. Operators normally do not realize the whole extent that when we have an NFC door control system, what else could it do? So quite often when we start with a door and tell them that this is the same technology as the public transport in Boston, or as Apple Pay, or as the government ID cards, or as many of the student university cards, that this is the same technology and they could do so much more in the club, like locker management, like cashless payment on the point of sale, but also cashless payment on vending machines, so that you don't end up in an income share project with your vending machine supplier, but you own the whole revenue. That's the interesting business model here. So it's quite surprising that when we tell them about this application, most of them take it a step further and say, okay, I want to know about all these other applications as well, and start implementing them into the club.
Oh, thank you. One more question, and specifically as we talk about security, does Gantner offer panic button solutions for emergencies, especially with unattended clubs?
Mhm. Also a good question, and this is why it's really important for questions like this to have a US partner who really knows the rules and the laws in the US, specifically when it comes to panic buttons and things like that. Uh, we, again, same answer as a manufacturer, we don't do these panic doors and things like that, but our partner in the US can help you with that. They know the rules in the different states, what are applicable, and will design a solution that you don't have a problem with the fire department or whatever code you need to require to get the system approved. Did that answer the question?
I think so. Thank you so much. With If there's no other questions from our attendees today, Gerhard, any closing thoughts here on hardware control or hardware access control and hardware?
Well, I think one of the things I want the audience to take away from that webinar is that the NFC systems, again, government ID cards, Apple Pay, transport, is this the technology which will be used more and more in the fitness industry. When some 10 years ago, Technogym was the only company offering the My Wellness system with an NFC credential, what we see today that if an equipment manufacturer does not have networked fitness based on NFC, then he's basically at the end of the line, right? When 10 years ago, that was only one company around it. So this is the future technology in the fitness industry. This is also the future technology, or why we also see it as a future technology is because it's a technology where Apple Pay is based on, and Apple has a really good, clear interest to move into the fitness segment and will need to open up their NFC technology towards that technology. So this is the dominant technology in the future in the fitness industry. And I want you to take away that whatever investment decisions you make today, it might be only for a door control, or it might be when you need to renovate your locker rooms, think about NFC locker locks, or it might be cashless payment solutions where you do income share models with vending suppliers, which stock the machine when you could do this by yourself and have the whole amount of money for you. Then I want you to take away that whatever investment you make today, make it future proof. Do not invest necessarily in a barcode system or a MaxDrive system, or even, especially that when it comes to the access control, because this is all not combinable with other systems, especially the fitness equipment. So when you do an investment, invest in the future and use a technology which will be more and more dominant in future in the fitness industry. And this is what we supply and where we basically consult the fitness industry and do webinars like this, but also speaking on the ERSA shows to educate people where is technology going. Even if it seems that as an entrance criteria, obviously NFC card is a bit more expensive than a barcode, but long term, combining it with other applications and security, it provides the pays off big times. So when you do an investment, invest in the right technology.
Awesome.
This
Thank you,
is what
Gerhard. I really appreciate you
yeah.
joining us today. It's been a fascinating discussion. There's so many other topics I think we could have touched on here as well too. But attendees, I want to remind you that tomorrow is the cutoff for the discount offering for the Motionsoft Technology Summit, which again takes place in Baltimore, September 13th through 15th. We have some upcoming sessions that I, again, would like you to be aware of. I'll send out links here momentarily. Before we close, I really want to thank our sponsors as well too that make this session and the summit possible. Lead Speak, Club Industry, Matrix, MyZone, Gantner Technologies, thank you so much. H2Fit, Reunify, MXM, Text Communications, and it's been a pleasure having you today, Gerard, and thank you for kicking off the Motionsoft club collaboration webinar series. We look forward to seeing you guys at the next event next Thursday at 2 p.m. Eastern. Have a great day.
Thank you very much. Have a great day.